All right, how's everybody doing today? My name is Ryan Warner. I am the Advocacy Domain Lead for SCP, and I'm really excited for this episode. Today, we're going to focus on lifting up the voices of students. We have a lot of students that are part of SCP, and we want to hear their particular needs. We want to identify how to best support them so that we can ultimately continue to strengthen the field of consulting psychology. We know that students are the future leaders when it comes to future consultant psychologists, and they're going to make significant change within the field. So, how do we as members support them, identify their needs, their pain points, so in turn we can make them have the best experience possible? So, I'm really excited today to have a couple students that I'm going to interview. So Jillian Gibbs, she is going to be interviewed today and talk about her experience. And also Nina Guerra is also going to talk about her experience as well as a student. So, I'm really excited to learn more about, the experiences that you all go through, and also hopefully we can walk away with some action steps that we can all engage in as members to support you all. So thanks both of y'all for being here today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, so can we start maybe with just an introduction, just a quick background? What do you start studying? Maybe how long you've been engaged in SCP? That'd be great for us to know. So who wants to start?
I go ahead and start. My name's Jillian. I am a student currently in the Master's of Science of IO Psychology program at Texas A&M. It's my second semester, so pretty fresh. And I've been a part of SCP since August. I went to my first conference in Austin this year and absolutely loved it, and actually met Nina there. So it was super fun.
Cool, great.
Yeah. Hey, my name is Nina. I am currently a doctoral student in clinical PsyD program. I'm in the second year of that doctoral program. And also I got involved with SCP probably in the past 6 months. I inquired about volunteering at the conference, and I served as a volunteer at the conference this past February in Austin. Really great experience there.
Nice. So I'm curious, how did you all navigate to this particular career field? What gauged your interest? What's your why with engaging in consulting psychology?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that one. So yeah, prior to beginning the doctoral program, I served in the Marine Corps for 10 years on active duty. So I think I was really, once I started the clinical psychology program, I was really interested in ways to harness my prior leadership and team building experience within the program. So I found myself like taking leadership opportunities in the program. And as I kind of just did my own research of like how I could utilize those skills, I kind of landed on the field of consulting psychology. And that's what got me tied into wanting to volunteer for the conference and really just being able to, see the experience from other, even while I was there, seeing clinical psychologists who were kind of going into the field of consulting. So just trying to get a better understanding of how to bridge that gap kind of early on in my career.
Yeah, I know you and I also have that, similar background when it comes to military, right? So I know that's how we first engaged our
Yeah,
interaction with
yeah.
each other. Great. And Jillian, what about you?
Yeah, so I was a psych major in college, and I graduated knowing that I had a passion for working with people and teams, and loved human behavior and understanding, how people work. I was a college athlete, so I was always kind of around that team atmosphere and fascinated with how people work together. But so I graduated and kind of dabbled in some different career paths, was kind of unsure about what I wanted to do. And then actually thought I was going to be a physical therapist, and kind of switched gears when I did a lot of shadowing, and I was a rehab technician for a while. And sort of my stimulus for kind of going into this full throttle was understanding that I feel like when a lot of people in the world right now are trying to do good and they're not in systems, or they don't have the support that allow them to do good or to do the good that they want to well. And I found that was kind of those were kind of my strengths of relating to people and helping people in that aspect. So my degree is IO psychology, so different than clinical, but really understanding how organizations work. I felt like that was where I can make the biggest impact. And then specifically consulting, I just love that the development opportunities you have, the creativity opportunities you have, and then also just I think in IO we get kind of siloed in what we can do, and I love how consulting psychology gives you multiple perspectives and multiple areas of psychology to draw from and to be around.
Great. So both of you all, even though you identify as students, one is at a master level, one is at a doctoral level, one's in clinical, one is IO. Just in general, you being a student and trying to transition into this field and make this your profession. Well, what support do you all need right now? There's a lot of phenomenal members, a part of Division 13, and everyone comes from very diverse backgrounds, unique backgrounds and experiences. I'm curious, like, how can the members support you? What support do you need?
Yeah, I think that especially like things like this, like coming on the podcast and being able just to connect with members at further than the conference, I think that that would be a really good opportunity. I know that there are like the advocacy domain and like there's a mentorship opportunities. So I think just kind of being able to seek out those mentorship opportunities for students to be able to kind of just like pick the brains of some of the more seasoned consultants and members. I think that in itself is a really great experience to kind of like further our knowledge and understanding of the field.
Mm-hmm. For listeners who don't know, we have a formal mentorship program within the advocacy domain, and ultimately I've been running it for over a year now. And it's been helpful to get mentors, and mentees. No matter, you could be a mentee if you have 20 years of professional experience, but maybe new to the field of consulting psychology, right? So we have, anyone can really be a mentee who's eager to learn and grow and develop. And mentors, they're able to utilize their experience, to give back, and be able to support those who, can benefit from additional guidance. So yeah, we do have that professional, formal mentorship program within the division. And for listeners who want to engage, feel free to reach out to me. So, but thanks, Nita, for reminding us of the importance of mentorship. I'm curious, Jillian, what about you? What support, have you seen to be most helpful, and what do you need to continue to develop?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Nina. And just having us on this podcast and being in that program is so awesome. Just kind of welcoming us into your space and your craft and what you do. I think my two things that I thought about kind of fall into two categories. One being like practical support and experiential support. So I think I know coming from like both of you coming from a clinical background, you have those internships where you kind of see maybe different aspects of a specialty and you really experience that. And I think as students, I think we're hungry for knowledge and we're hungry to get that experience, but we can connect to people. But then I find myself often in situations where we're connected and then I don't know what to do past that, if that makes sense. And I don't know how to ask for like if I guess I do know how to ask if I can sit in on meetings or anything like that, but there's often not a lot of opportunities to do so. And then also going off of that, maybe comparing it to maybe the medical field, there's certain jobs that kind of prepare you for a career later on the road, like being a doctor. A medical assistant is helpful to be for a while to get some work experience and also make some sort of money, or being a CNA. And I think the world of consulting psychology is so broad, which is so great. There's so much opportunity, but it's sometimes hard to kind of see like, okay, what can I do that will actually give me experience to complement what I'm learning. And then I think the second thing was just awareness and having those role models. So I think SCP does a great job of this, and I wish everybody that in IO that I knew went to the SCP conference, and everybody in my program I'm talking about went, because it was so eye-opening, and to see all these people doing such wonderful things. I think that maybe something's out there, but it's different once you see it and you can kind of see that that's possible. And so really just having that mentorship, talking to people about what you're learning and talking about how it's actually applied is really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, because you all are the future, pipeline, when it comes to coming down the pipeline of leadership, right? Your future leaders within the field, your future leaders, hopefully within SCP specifically. And sometimes we don't know the heights of what we can reach until we actually see people, maybe reach those heights. I know me just coming in, I graduated in 2019, still an early career psychologist myself. And in turn, sometimes I didn't recognize, that there's no limits to how far you can go within this field. There's so much that you can do to help organizations, to make a change, to shift systems. So when I sought out mentorship within the division, that has been really helpful for me, with my own professional growth and development. So definitely understand what you're coming from there. Yeah. So with that, what are the next steps? What are the listeners right now? What can they do practically, to help continue to strengthen the future pipeline of leaders within the field? What is some advice that you have for listeners?
Yeah, I think it's whether if it's especially students or early career consultants, psychologists. I think really it's just taking that first step and getting involved, whether that's signing up and just maybe getting involved with the division or signing up for the advocacy domain, the mentorship program. I think that would be the first step. And then for those interested in wanting to help students and us kind of like along the way, I think also if any opportunities that can be highlighted where kind of like what Jillian said, I think that if we can get that experiential piece and kind of that mentoring, if anybody's also willing to do that, I think just being able to highlight those opportunities would be awesome.
Great.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think one, stuff like this, that's definitely an example of something that is helpful. And two, I remember at the SCP conference, I was sitting and having breakfast, and two people that two former presidents of SCP just came and sat down, and someone who gave a talk later that in a workshop sat down as well, and we're just talking and wanted to know us, and really you could tell that they were interested in what we had to say and what our thoughts were. And I think as a student, sometimes we're not I think a lot of us have imposter syndrome. So just kind of getting that confidence and knowing that, people want to hear your voice is really helpful. And then I think another thing that I always worry about or when I'm talking to someone, is that maybe I said something that's kind of a no-no or just like do's and don'ts. And I don't, and maybe that person is that I'm trying to connect with doesn't want to tell me that that's not, like, maybe I shouldn't do that in the future or anything like that. But I think just giving us feedback and knowing that maybe, I don't know, it might hurt feelings in the moment, but knowing that it will help us so much in the long run. So I know maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, but I definitely would appreciate feedback if there's anything that I do. Yeah, just building those meaningful relationships, I think is great.
Great. Thank you. So as we wrap up today, this was an enjoyable experience to learn more about, your backgrounds and ultimately, I really look forward to you continuing to engage within the division. And again, the advocacy domain, the purpose of our domain is to lift up the voice of SCP members so that we can continue to, accelerate the field and make a difference. So thank you both, Jillian and Nina, for being here today. And I look forward to continue to engage with you all in the future.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.